If you're looking for a quality chef and caterer for your next revival, conference, seminar, or wedding, then you need to get in touch with Minister Eugene Wims. He is a quality chef and caterer that walks in the Lord. Call him at 754-422-4780. And don't forget, you can join Minister Eugene Wims every Monday and Tuesday morning from 5 until 6 a.m. with his radio ministry, Walking by Faith, right here on Wexy 1520, your inspiration station.
Good morning, South Florida. This is Monday. If it's Monday, you know it's half-time story time. So wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. Again, good morning, Wexy 1520 family and friends in South Florida, surrounding areas, and maybe the Bahamas. I'm your host, Tyrone A. Ash. I'm a local product from the area with worldly experiences, education, and knowledge on how we can save our children. I'm available at 954-854-9216. That number again is 954-854-9216. My email is hyty2u@gmail.com. Email address again is hyty2u@gmail.com. We're glad to have you with us. You could have been anywhere else this morning, but we're glad you woke up to be with us. So for the next 1 hour, 60 minutes, you get the opportunity to journey into power of our story. I want you to remember, listening audience, our story is the story of humanity. That goes from the first human on earth, a fact proven by science and archaeology, to creation of civilization. That's math, science, farming, history, astronomy, etc. That's a creation of civilization, to building of pyramids, cities, and world-famous libraries. Now, we also want you to know that our story goes from kings and queens of the world, leaders of the world, to the dark ages of enslavement, where our people fought to regain our freedom, and we were able to do that. And we had to go through segregation, which is still around in different forms today, but we're still overcoming that also. But most importantly, our story has gone all the way to the most powerful human on earth in the 21st millennium. That would be President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, a man of African descent. So you see, listening audience, our story is the story of humanity. The main purpose of our program today is to increase your knowledge of self-history and ancestry for quality character development and successful living. This fact has been proven by scholars and universities. I don't want you to get confused. These are not my words. Scholars and universities have done studies on successful people to determine what makes them all successful. I'll give you an example. In one study, 100 successful businessmen and women were studied to find out what was the reason of their success in their character. The conclusion of the study was the most common traits were they all had knowledge of self-history and they all had knowledge of ancestry. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're saying today is we deserve to give ourselves and our children this opportunity for a more quality life. So we're asking you, take a chance. This program is for you, our children, and our neighborhoods. Again, we thank you for tuning in, and I will talk more about our sponsors later. But for this morning, ladies and gentlemen, for this morning, we have two great people with us. I would like to introduce you to Michael Anderson and Mr. Gabriel Andrews. These men have put together their own time, their own effort, their own creativity to create a program that's geared toward encouraging our young men. And the name of that program is Heroes of a Thousand Faces. So their program and their efforts will be our focus this morning. So Mr. Michael Andrews, introduce yourself, please.
Oh, I'll start. Michael Anderson, producer with Heroes of a Thousand Faces. Thank you for having us this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, and Mr. Andrews, would you introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Good morning. Good morning, Tyrone. Thank you again so much for having us on. Again, Gabriel Andrews, producer of Heroes of a Thousand Faces as well. So thanks again, and looking forward to a good conversation.
Well, thank you all for introducing yourselves. But y'all trying to be polite, but I got to get you guys to open up. So, Mike, take the time and tell us more about what is Heroes of a Thousand Faces.
Well, again, thank you for having us and the interest in Heroes of a Thousand Faces, because we believe it's a very important project. The project itself, we look to highlight 1,000 heroes in our community, 1,000 men of color, black men, from the black diaspora, of all ages, to help provide a greater understanding of what it is to be a black man, walking this earth. We look to highlight those individuals to inspire our youth, our young men of color, to understand and recognize that they can achieve whatever their goals may be. And that's one of the reasons why we highlight 1,000. Our goal is 1,000 individuals of all different walks of life, because we believe, being a hero isn't about your status or your money that you have achieved or have. It's about your goals in life and what you can do for your community and family, and those around you, that makes you a hero in our book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Gabriel. I know you want to get in on there, but I got to bring you in this way. This whole style, Heroes of a Thousand Faces, was the brainchild of Mr. Gabriel Andrews. So, Gabriel, tell us how it all came about.
Man, thank you again. So, let's see. I had actually did a conference in 2010. I was doing some video work for this conference, and the conference was for the League of Black Women. Now, so I had got the job through a friend of mine. She needed someone to come in and do the video work, so I was available. And so one of the things I like about this particular profession is, man, you get to be a fly on the wall of so many great conversations, right? So I'm in the conference, and these are some amazing black women from all over the country, leaders of industry, just different people, writers and poets. And I'm there at their conference, recording and doing video services for about 4 days. And at the last day, they had a gentleman come in. I can't remember his name, and I can't remember his company, but he was a futurist. And they were talking about the future and how what they actually needed to do to be prepared for the future. And I just thought about that. I was like, man, where's our black men, and where is our conference? And why aren't we having this conversation? And I'm sure that we were. I just didn't really know about it at the time. But that just kind of was the genesis for just thinking about, man, just bringing black men together and thinking about how do we best prepare for what's to come, right? And so moving forward, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Okay, yeah. So just moving forward, just that seed was planted, and then just over time, this whole project for me is probably been, 10, going on 10 years in the making now. So it's finally like coming together through, the help of so many other individuals, just really putting in their time, energy, and effort. But again, the whole premise is just having these groups of men come together and hear their stories. Now, it could have been a conference, but you have to think about, okay, how best can I use the resources and talents and abilities that I have right now? And, I wasn't a conference planner. I wasn't, one to kind of go out and figure out how those things work. But I did have a camera, and I did know about video. And so it just kind of began pulling together and thinking about those particular things. But that's kind of the genesis. And then just in my reading and kind of studying and kind of trying to understand a little bit more about this particular profession and get better at it, I came across Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell is probably the world's foremost, I guess, expert, quote unquote, on myth and mythology. And he pretty much came up with the hero's journey. And he wrote a seminal book called Hero with a Thousand Faces. And it's just the story of what it takes to make a hero. And all these particular stories from different, places around the world, and different tribes and countries and societies, they all have their heroes. But he kind of broke it down and analyzed it, and they all go through kind of a similar process. There's this beginning kind of call to adventure, and then, after that, after the call to adventure, there's like this kind of, it's called a transformation. There's this whole cycle. And so in getting with that, I just looking at, we have heroes every day. Like, they go through that whole process, and we don't get a chance to hear about them, and so again, just pulling everything together, that's where Hero of a Thousand Faces came through. And if I could make just like one more point to that,
go right ahead.
Thanks. It's just about also at this conference, the women's conference that I had an opportunity to attend. There's the conference speakers and everything, but after the speakers are done, there's that networking and that time to just get to know, the person next to you. And by the end of the conference, strangers become friends, at that time. And one of the reasons why I think this is so vital for us is that we get a chance to hear from other people, and so many other people. And so that by the time we finish listening and hearing from these different people, you think we have a better insight of ourselves, but we also know this person a little bit better too now. And that just really helps us now to move forward. Just a little piece of advice from here, a little tip from there, just begins to come together and help the listener and the viewer begin to move forward as well in their own heroic journey. So,
all right.
I was really appreciative of everybody who was chimed in and really helped, and just really taking the ball and ran with it. Mike as well. Just we talked about it so many times, and here we are right now.
Well, that's one of the next pieces we want to talk about. Here we are. We have two black young men coming together on a project to make it happen. and I'd like for Mike, if you will, tell us how you and Gabriel got together.
Me and Gabriel worked together in video production. So Gabriel mentioned the skill set of video production. So that's where we met, working in Miami, in the Miami community, doing video production work of all kinds. And we met and we kind of were like-minded on different things. And so we started talking about different projects and working together. And this project came about, and we just, Gabriel started telling me his experiences and his thoughts on the matter. And we just got together and just said, we really need to highlight these individuals, in our community. And so we started on the journey of interviewing. At this point, we have 30 interviews that we have collected and produced and put together in some different format of production therein. And at the beginning, we were like, man, 1,000 is going to be a lot. Will we ever achieve 1,000? And then when we look back now, 30 is a lot. And for us to get to 30 took a lot. And this is a project that self-funded. Me and Gabriel were doing these on our own. So it's very difficult at times to put together the amount of profiles that we want, but we look to have input from the community on potential heroes, that gentlemen that are doing great things in our community that can be highlighted about what they're doing and how they can help young men as well, because that is a major component of it, is also giving back and how they are giving back.
So here you are, two young men doing this local production effort. So now that you have done at least about 30, I'll get into who those 30 are. But if someone wanted to see any of the productions that you all have done already, well, be loud and let our listening audience know how they can see some of your products.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that we have online, so we have a website. Definitely, please visit our website at 1000heroes.net.
Would you repeat that, please?
That's 1000heroes.net. Online is our website, 1000heroes.net, and also on YouTube to see profiles that we have produced on YouTube. If you go to at 1000 Heroes, again at 1000 Heroes on YouTube, you will find our profile.
Very good, very good. Now, I heard you kind of briefly, but I want you to answer the question. Why is this important? I'd like you to speak directly, either one of you all. Why is this important?
All right, yeah, I'm ready to go. One of the reasons why I think this is important, honestly, is probably the most important thing is to save a life, right? Or rather, hopefully, save lives. One of the things, of course, on both the positive end is if you have someone who has questions about you mentioned about success early in the beginning there, Ty, about knowledge of yourself and knowledge of your ancestry as well, and just kind of having that self-identity and knowing who you are. And I think that sometimes, especially being Black here in North America, I guess in the Western world, there's already like this kind of stereotype and stigma. And if you don't really have a good foundation, sometimes you may get lost in believing some of the things that people tell you that you are, right? And so here in this particular program, in this particular series, you have people who look like you, who talk like you, who have similar experiences that you have or may have, telling you what they had to go through and how they did it. And for someone who hasn't been through it, or even for someone who has been through it, now you have somebody who is able to, or people who are able to essentially tell you how they've done it. And if you are at the point of either destitution or just ambiguity and not where you want to go, you have a little spark now that begins to drive you forward. So who knows where you possibly could have been going in your direction, but now you begin to have a focus. I read this book. It was a friend that gave it to me. It's called The Little Red Book of Wisdom. and I can't remember the author right now, Mark somebody. But in any case, said like pretty much you are who you are except for the books you read and the people that you meet, right? Those are the things that begin to change your direction. And so here we have 1,000 points, or potentially 1,000 points of intersection of people who have told you their story and telling you their story, and now you have a chance to meet them, although virtually, through the interview and through the compilation. But now you have these 1,000 points that begin to shape and kind of move you to a positive direction. So I think ultimately it's to save a life, And if I could just, I would like one more point in that to the point of thank you. To the point of stereotypes, you have, stereotypes aren't all bad. They kind of help us to understand complicated things in a quick way so we can make a quick decision and then move, right? But now, to that point, some of them are. And I think, of course, like as young black men, or I guess I could take on the young part just for a little bit. I'm kind of getting up there a little bit myself, but we already know that there's a stereotype that's around us. And so here we have 1,000 examples of maybe there's this negative stereotype, but here we have 1,000 examples of men who break out of those particular molds and break out of those stereotypes. One of the reasons that I believe that, we had so many, have these shootings of black men and just black and brown people in general is because of stereotypes, right? Because there's a fear that this man or young boy in some cases, has superhuman strength or they have some power or whatever over the situation. And so out of fear for my life, I pull the trigger, right? It's in self-defense. You go back to Trayvon Martin, go back to even, perhaps even this case, although I know it's still just coming, online, the Ahmaud Arbery case, right? So out of this self-defense, I'm scared for my life, so now I have to pull the trigger. Well, again, here we have 1,000 examples of positive black men who you walk on the street, you would never know, right? But to hear their story and to go a little bit further and go a little bit deeper, like, man, these people have made it through some really tough situations. There's some character there. There's some development there. There's some integrity there, And so maybe, just maybe, if it reaches the right person and they're in that situation now and they've seen some of these examples, it causes them just to think just a little bit longer about, give a half a second more before they, make that decision. And hopefully just come away, instead of taking a life now because of fear, have a better respect or a better understanding of that life that's on the other side of it.
You've got some real serious points you're making there now, and you got me thinking that you all are putting that into your videos and interviews of these 1,000 faces. So, Mike, give me an example. I mean, I've heard Gabriel talk about the goals of inspiring young people, young men particularly. Tell me, how are some of your interviews? Give me examples of the interviews, and how do you plan that kind of interaction to take place within someone?
Well, we seek out, thank you again, Tyrone, for the question and giving us the opportunity to tell our story and highlight these individuals. We seek them out and we do a pre-interview with them and find out about their backgrounds, and some of them our community knows, and others they do not. We have one of our heroes, Barrington Irving, Captain Barrington Irving, the pilot who flew around the world solo. We feature him and his life story. We have Willie Panama.
Well, 1 minute, Mike. I think you kind of went too fast now.
Did I?
Barrington
right.
Irving.
Yes.
Where is he from? You said local. Is he from here? How old is he? What did he do?
Well, Barrington's story, He's here as a child, grew up here in Miami, went to Miami Northwestern High School, and was a football star. Was on his way to the University of Florida on a scholarship, and had a change in his direction by chance meeting of a African American pilot, and started speaking with him, and it changed his trajectory from football to aviation. And he went on this journey, went to Florida Memorial College, and for training and education in aviation, and received his degree from there, and then sought out to change lives through being an inspiration, and actually becoming the youngest and the first African American to fly solo around the world, and set a Guinness Book of World Record in the process. So very inspirational story. He's touched so many lives. I've worked with him in the video production aspect, and I've seen firsthand how many kids that he has touched through his program, and how they are so inspired when they see him, and so motivated to not just hear his story, but to see the way that he carries himself in his everyday life. So those are the type of gentlemen that we seek, and they bring a big part to the program of what we're doing, and they're touching so many lives, and we look to magnify that.
Now, give us another example, Mike. If you got, if I'm sure you do, but give us another example.
Well, recently we also have Dr. Sterling Thompson, who's a microbiologist, a food scientist.
Wait a minute. Hold up. I'm sorry. I'm doing this for our listening audience, so excuse me for interrupting you. You said there's a brother that's a microbiologist that you all was able to contact and read. He wasn't uppity. He wasn't like, get out of my face, I'm too important for you. Really?
Oh, no. Very open, talking about his career and his life, and what he's gone through in his life, and not just the fact of striving to higher education, which he definitely did, and went through all of those steps for his education, and becoming a food scientist and working for the Hershey Company for 30 years, designing chocolates that we probably all eat and love to this day.
I know I do.
And so hearing his journey, but also his journey through the civil rights era. He went to Tougaloo College in Mississippi, and he talks about helping people register to vote, and how, what that experience was like. He's a father of two young men, and he talks about what it's like being a black man raising black men in today's society, and what that is like. And they are successful as well. And he talks deeply about his career, the lives that he's touched, his fraternities, the fraternity that he's a part of, the programs he's also involved in as far as giving back in the community. Was on the board with Big Brothers, Big Sisters programs, working with other programs which they call Bigs in Blue, which is young men connecting with police departments and learning police departments, and learning about our young men in the community and working together. So he talks deeply about those projects. So these stories are so inspirational and motivating, and they go so deep in different areas. Every interview is not the same. Some questions may be the same, but like we're all different. The answers are all different.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, we're going to take a commercial break right here, because we want, I have on the program with us today is Michael Anderson and Mr. Gabriel Andrews. So those inspirational stories that you all are making available to the public can be found where? Please give us those contact addresses and phone numbers again.
Yeah, again, home base is our website, 1000heroes.net. Also on YouTube, you can find it, 1000 Heroes, as well, and on Facebook, 1000 Heroes, on Facebook, YouTube, and on our website.
Yeah, and if I could, that's that's 1,000, as in the number 1,000, not spelled out or anything, just 1000, 1,000 heroes. So anyway, clarification.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get your pens and paper. We will give you those addresses again before the program ends. Okay, so as we're moving forward now, you've told us how important 1,000 Heroes of 1,000 Faces is. You told us how you all came together and gave us a couple of examples. You had a young man that learned that started out very young, and then you had an older gentleman who just worked through the process. So now, where would you like this program to go, guys? Either one of you, go ahead and jump in. Where do you like this project to go? I was thinking about that question, like, where do you want things to go? And I would say, for myself, this is kind of our own hero's journey, if you will. It's definitely been kind of challenging and going through, some things just in the course of over these last 10 years, but essentially beginning the project and then, up until this point, man, for me, life has definitely took a change for sure. Started a family and go through that and trying to, raise some kids and figure that whole thing out. But where I would like for this to go is, of course, to be an educational component, but also, again, a life-changing component, right? So if you look at Hollywood's first blockbuster, it was... Wait a minute, would you repeat that again?
What's that?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you repeat that again, please?
Which part?
You say when you look at what now?
Oh, yeah, when you look at Hollywood's first blockbuster, right? Essentially, it was D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, right? And it was essentially depicting black men as, like, lustful, like, animals, and they were ultimately, like, pushed back and defeated by the KKK, right? So here you have the importance of image and media, right, in the propagation of a stereotype. So for me, where do I want this to go? I want this to be something that helps to, again, redirect image stereotypes in a way that's constructive and positive for everyone involved, right? For black men especially, because there's that negative stereotype out there, again. But then collectively, though, right? Once you begin to see all people as people, then you can begin to, like, really move forward, right? You can only chain is only as strong, quote unquote, as its weakest link, whether perception or otherwise. So once you begin to really value, like, everyone, there are no weak links in the chain, and so you can really move forward with that. So again, from an educational standpoint, yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
Mike. You have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I echo exactly what Gabriel is saying. I mean, that is exactly our goal, and we're trying to reach our youth. So we mentioned the educational component. I mean, this is what it's all about. It's about educating and inspiring our young youth. I also feel like there's so many different opportunities all around us. And because of financial situations and economics and communities and that type of thing, there's a lot of young people that are not exposed to all the opportunities that are around us. And so we look to highlight these different jobs and careers and entrepreneurs and different opportunities that are all around us that young people can find as a career. Because maybe, like in Barrington's interview, being a pilot was like the furthest thing in his mind, to actually be a pilot, even though we look up in the sky and see these planes flying overhead all day long. Becoming a pilot was something that was thought of as unreachable. We see so many kids. We talked the other day, so many kids about wearing Air Jordans or the Nike shoes or what have you. But what about the creators of the shoes? The people that are behind the shoes and designing the shoes, and the engineers that are involved with coming up with the ideas and the architectures and the structures of these types of things. And we're there. Those are jobs that we are doing. But I don't know if all or how many of our youth know about these opportunities.
Very good, very good. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, just want you to know I have on our program this morning Mr. Michael Anderson and Mr. Gabriel Andrews. They're of the Heroes of a Thousand Faces. Just taking a quick commercial break so our guests can catch their breath. Is this program, As Our Story, is brought to you by, you know it, the story Grandpa Told of American and world African legends and culture. As you can see, there's a lot of efforts and a lot of work is going into to make sure that our young people have the kind of skills, the training, and the work toward a beginning that gives them some strength. So please stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to get your copy of the story Grandpa Told, we would like for you to go to www.thestorygrandpatold.com. And as you've been following this program, we have certain instances that we talk about every Monday. That's every Monday here on WEXY 1520 AM. We're your wake-up call. So again, let's just get back to our guest who has given us such a valuable information. And so we're going to go with, are there any future projects that you guys, with the Heroes of a Thousand Faces, you have on the books? Any future projects?
Just trying to get through this one. The goal is, we set a goal of 1,000 interviews. And I remember when we were first talking about it, we're like, what? 1,000 interviews? Like, if you're going to set a bar, Hero of 30 Faces, and man, that's a great number. Don't get me wrong. Like 30 people to be able to talk to. But again, we set a goal of 1,000, like to really stretch ourselves and to stretch the conversation and to impact as many people, as we possibly can. So, I remember the first interview with with Chef, and for me, Alexander Starr, Chef RLI, Richard Ingram, and that was like a monumental event. When we finally got them to sit down and to talk about their story and just the impact that they had and how they were able to go through and are going through the process themselves. That was amazing. And then, look back, we have 30 interviews and 30 people who spent time under our belt. But we still have a long way to go. So, we got just looking forward to just trying to finish the project.
Gotcha. Now let me throw this question out here. Is there any way that our listening audience and their network can come together to help you guys pull off this project? Because it sounds very interesting, and I can see that it will be doing some good work. So is there anything the listening public can do to help you guys?
Well, yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
And I'll let you get in there too, Mike. But of course, hey, we're looking for 1,000, 1,000, black men, and the criteria is they are have achieved professional, kind of a professional. They have a professional achievement. They're also giving back and helping out their communities, and that they're open to go through struggle. They've had these success in these areas. Now, success doesn't necessarily mean monetarily all the time, for sure. It just could mean, something more when they've overcome this particular struggle or so, and their success in this particular right. So, but the way that they can reach out or help us in this is definitely please go to the website. There's a contact form on that website. Again, 1000heroes.net. There's a contact form. Fill out that contact form. Make recommendations. Follow us on social media on Facebook and YouTube as well. Comment and share, and then again, make those recommendations of people who you may feel need to be highlighted and profiled and selected there. Mike, you want to say something?
Yeah, I just that's exactly echoes the same thing. Again, just helping us spread the word, putting these profiles in the hands of our youth, in front of young people, so that they can hear these stories. I mean, our target, and it's designed for young men of color, but the stories reach everyone. Everyone I speak to is inspired. Men, women, children, girls and boys, everyone is inspired by hearing these stories. But we feel like it's important to really focus on our black youth, to really hear these stories to inspire their lives. So one of the goals is to get it in the hands of, get these profiles in front of our young men. So sharing and spreading is really important.
I'm sorry.
I was saying
I'm sorry to interrupt. Repeat that, please.
Sharing and spreading this news and information about the project and these profiles, I feel, is very important.
Now, there's a connection that the common people here together do have. Now, there's a website. There's a program called Pass the Story of the Diaspora Forward. You heard them on this radio before. We want you to know that you can also make donations to Pass the Story of the Diaspora Forward, earmark it for Heroes of 1,000 Faces, and those funds will get to these young men to continue their project. Remember, we help ourselves. That's important. And we have to continue to do that. And I have really enjoyed this program with Michael Anderson and Mr. Gabriel Andrews. But again, their website is 1000heroes.net. Please go there. Check it out. Make sure your children, even though they're saying young men, inspiration comes without a gender. So please encourage everyone to go to 1000heroes.net to listen to these examples of heroes that locally, that we can reach out and maybe even touch ourselves. So now our time is running short. We're into the last section of our program. And before I come up with another question, is there anything that we haven't covered that you guys would like to cover in this last segment?
I just like to make another point on the tail end of that. Yes, we definitely need support to help reach our goal of 1,000 heroes. That's really, it is important. I feel it's a great project, and I think it's so helpful to our community. But as far as even if you're not being a profile of individual that we're interviewing, joining the conversation is really important. So we just love to hear from our community. We look to have some town hall meetings. We look to do other things with our program that really connects the community with this project, but really having a dialogue about what's going on in our communities and how we can help our young people. We look to create that dialogue and be behind that.
Gabriel?
And again, I echo the same sentiments. Definitely partners.
Y'all guys are really tuned into each other. Go right ahead. Sorry for the
working on the same thing. For sure. What is it? The proverb: if you want to go fast, go by yourself. But if you want to go far, you got to go together, right?
Okay.
And we can't do it alone, and frankly, don't want to. All right, if we just do it all by ourselves, then it really only serves just a small group of people ourselves. But if we can again just bring in as many people, like-minded people, interested people, or maybe even maybe don't have the same viewpoint, but we have a common goal. Bringing all those people in from the community, I think that we can go really far, and not only accomplish what we have said here. I'm sure there are just things that, of course, that we haven't even talked about, thought about, that are right outside of the scope of our perception. So just bringing in everyone else and bringing in other people can really just help move the project forward. So, to that may be a financial contribution, of course. It may be a contribution of ideas, contribution of resources, whatever it is. Again, it takes everyone to move forward. So that's how we can all know.
WEXY 1520 listening audience, you've been given a charge. You've been asked to contact, to review, to support Michael Anderson and Gabriel Andrews in their project to help inspire and save our young men through the project called Heroes of 1,000 Faces. There have been some very great guests. I will look forward to try to have them on again. Will you guys come back?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you very much. Absolutely.
Oh, well, see, we got a confirmation from them. They will be back with us. But again, I'd like to make sure you got your pen and pencil, paper ready. Their website. Gentlemen, one of you please give us your website again.
Go ahead,
the website is 1000heroes.net. And to be transparent, 1000heroes.net is kind of will be like the hub for the interviews. All the interviews are not posted just yet on 1000heroes.net, but they're coming. They're coming pretty soon. So just kind of stay posted to that. But you can definitely still leave your email address and leave comments through the contact form, and we'll definitely reach out and get back to you.
Yeah,
I think I was floating through. YouTube. I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
I was and also on YouTube and on social media, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. We're on the different platforms, so you can reach us there as well. And we're fresh. We're starting. Even though we've been at it for a little while now, the motor is really revved up and moving fast. So we went from 0 to 30. We went from 0 to 10. It took a while, but we went from 10 to 30 pretty fast. and now our goal is to go from 30 to 100 extremely fast. And one of the other aspects of what we're trying to do too, we didn't mention, is also looking to mentor young people in the field of video production. So being behind the camera and actually conducting some of these interviews. If especially some young men who who gravitate toward video production and want to learn more about interviewing and camera work and what production is as a business or as a career, we look to speak to those young men as well. So and that same contact is the same ones that we mentioned through the website 1000heroes.net.
And those of you that's cruising on Facebook, you will see them under someone's story. Is that your story, Mike, or Gabriel?
Well, they're
on Facebook. Right.
We have a page. Definitely I have a Facebook presence as well, Michael Anderson. But we have a page on Facebook. So I definitely would recommend go to the page, again, 1000 Heroes, and like the page. The profile links are there on Facebook. Share it with your family and friends. Start a conversation. We want to hear the comments. We want to hear not just the comments about the actual profiles and the people that are in the interviews, but your thoughts on the subject matter.
Okay, now we have to work with you all to try to find a way that we can really get this information and these profiles to our young people. And that's going to be a charge that we're going to be working toward. Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'd say yes, that is definitely the goal. We are working to get these profiles in front of young people. That's who we feel need to hear them the most, and see themselves. I feel like when you look at these individuals that we have in these profiles, young people see themselves. We run the gamut of color hues, and so you see yourself when you look at these men and hear their story. They some of them have come up in one parent household. Some have come through foster care. Some are from a 2-parent household. Some have just come from many different walks of life, many different communities. So just hearing those stories, I think it resonates with different individuals. And again, we mentioned earlier about, I think Gabriel mentioned about a chef. We have a chef. We have pilots. We have an astronaut that we've interviewed, Winston Scott, who's an astronaut. And was on the, doing a spacewalk as an astronaut. We have that. We have coaches that we have interviewed. We have entertainers, singers, performers, athletes. We just have so many different people that we've interviewed so far, and we want to go deeper. So we're asking the public to let us know who would be a good candidate to interview.
And you can do that through contacting Michael Anderson and Gabriel Andrews through their website, through their social networks. We all can have to work together. Remember, it's how it was said early in the program. If you want to go far, let's go together. So let's help these young men with their project to help our young men, and we continue to work together. This program is brought to you by the story Grandpa told of American and world African legends and culture. That just like the heroes of 1,000 faces, we all want to inspire, encourage, and help our young people. And yes, we're following the example of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who in 1930 created Negro History Week with the primary purpose of making sure, encouraging that we have this moment, that we recognize we need more moments to be able to honor and recognize the achievement that we as a people have brought to the world. We've brought many of those to the world, and ladies and gentlemen, our children do not know that. So it's the heroes of 1,000 faces, and we would like to thank again Michael Anderson and Gabriel Andrews for their time, because they could have been anywhere else, but they chose to be with you, WEXY family, at 1520 a.m. Again, to our sponsors, we'd like to thank Pastor Eugene Williams, who's helped sponsor this program, the WEXY staff, Pass the Story of Diaspora Forward Incorporated, a 501c3 that's designed to make sure we keep telling our stories, just like Dr. Carter G. Woodson would have us to do. And yes, the book, The Story Grandpa Told of American and World African Legends and Culture. We have only a couple of minutes left. If you guys want to have some passing, leaving thoughts, please share them right now.
Sure. Just one thing, again, I think it just comes back down to, again, education and then helping to change stereotypes, right? So, like, skin color does make a difference. It's not because it has some innate right? It's really because the society around it has enabled it to be so. So, if it's society that is controlling and culture that's controlling how we perceive and what abilities people have, then we can change that. And so this is a part of just that change that's going forward, just us being able to write and tell our own story. And then again, also to identify who we are and define ourselves for ourselves.
Very good, very good. You got 30 seconds, Mike, if you want to add.
I just want to say that's what it's about. We look becoming a source of inspiration and inspiring young men, creating a community of mentorship, be it online or in person. That's exactly what we're trying to do, and really change the perspective that Black men are feared. The conversation needs to happen. So we look forward to having that and reaching out to us. Thank you again, Tyrone, for giving us the opportunity
Tyrone, thank you, man.
to be on the show with you.
Well, we thank you all and our listening audience. They're clapping whether you hear them or not. They're clapping, thanking you
I think I hear
for the hard work you are doing. So we want to thank you again, and we will have you back on. And by the end, maybe we even past 100. So have a great day, gentlemen. Hey. And now we're going to turn you back over to our station as they control the rest of your morning. So wake up, WEXY family. We love you. Stay safe. And remember, fill out your census form. Bye now. Have a great day.
If you're looking for a quality chef and caterer for your next revival, conference, seminar, or wedding, then you need to get in touch with Minister Eugene Wims. He is a quality chef and caterer that walks in the Lord. Call him at 754-422-4780. And don't forget, you can join Minister Eugene Wims every Monday and Tuesday morning from 5 until 6 a.m. with his radio ministry Walking by Faith right here on WEXY 1520, your inspiration station.